Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a few weeks since I've uploaded a Wednesday slash like a vlog video, so it's time. I've missed you guys. And today I wanted to bring you a video that's a little more personal, and basically I wanted to talk about my C-section healing and kind of going over everything such as mental health, like the physical healing, and basically how I've adjusted also to sleep to basically the whole newness of that is motherhood. So got you propped up on one of Amelia's books. Hopefully this, is sturdy and stable enough. One of the things that has really inspired this video was a couple of weeks ago, I got a very deep and emotional email from a viewer, basically stating that my videos have helped her in so many ways, and the main one being that she was feeling very suicidal. And I mean, I've gotten messages like that before, but this one just seemed to hit me in a different way. Could be because I'm a mom now, but anyway, that same week we went and visited our friends for a barbecue, and we started talking, and she was like, oh, like, I'm sure you and Adam have like no problems. You guys like seem perfect. And this is a friend that we've hung out a lot with, and I definitely felt like I had opened up about, things here and there. So to hear that, and then that email earlier in that week, I just really thought like it is time that we talk a little bit about mental health on this channel. I know I'm not shy to talk about this. I've definitely gone in on anxiety and all of that on my channel, but it's been a while, and I feel like in this new chapter in my life, I feel like it is definitely time to talk about. So going back to my having a C-section, I still get asked all the time, like, why did I opt for a C-section? And I didn't. I did have a planned C-section because I had a myomectomy almost 4 years ago. So I had a very large fibroid in my uterus, and so the surgery to do that is much like a C-section. So they have to cut in your lower abdomen, cut through your uterus, remove the fibroid. So you back up again, like you would have in a C-section. So once I had that surgery, my doctor at the time suggested that in the future, if I were to get pregnant, that she absolutely would recommend me have a C-section. Now, it is possible that I could have had a baby naturally and completely fine, but that like 1% risk is just way too scary to risk. So anyway, so I knew going in that I would be having a C-section. I was afraid, just like anybody else would be, because it is major surgery, and not only is it surgery, but you come home with a brand new infant that you have to take care of. So that was the part that scared me the most. So I figured it would be kind of similar healing to the myomectomy. And when we asked my OB just a couple weeks before Amelia was born, she actually said, well, like a C-section is more difficult to heal from because the incision is about 3 times bigger. And so basically there's more healing, which made sense. So I had the C-section. It's actually like one of the most, I think, actually kind of serene kind of experiences that I've had. It was very scary going into it. It was very scary getting the spinal, but once you're like sedated, it's kind of like you're just really zenned out and relaxed, and then your baby comes into the world and there's no pain. And so I do think that that part is really nice. Obviously there is lots of pain afterwards. Probably, I mean, I don't know. I've never had a natural birth, so I can't compare the two, but when I've heard of women that have had both, they kind of describe that a natural birth, you have pain during the labor, whereas a C-section, you experience that pain kind of spread out for like a week or two after. Now the full, like, I wouldn't say full healing, but like the majority part of the healing process after C-section is, I would say, about 6 to 8 weeks. And that's what my doctor told me. So basically when I was in the hospital healing from the C-section, I believe the next morning I had a doctor, which was not my OB, come in and check on me. And he was like, have you gotten up today? And I was like, well, I got up yesterday after the 8 hours since surgery that all doctors like want you to get up, be able to go to the bathroom on your own. And that's difficult to do, to get up after those 8 hours. You literally, like, you're walking, but your like chin is like at your knees, like, cause you're curled over, obviously in pain. But I swear it was like not as bad as it was from my myomectomy. And normally I think you feel the opposite. You're like, oh, this one was for sure more painful, because maybe you kind of forget. But I swear I remember the pain I had from my myomectomy just being so much worse. But anyway, this doctor was like, well, I want you to walk around every single day. I want you to get up multiple times a day. And Adam was just kind of like, but she can't. And previously with my myomectomy surgery, like, I was in bed for maybe a week, 4 to 5 days. Of course, I'd get up to go to the bathroom. By like maybe the 3rd, 4th day, I was kind of able to like go downstairs and grab something to eat, but it was still like so painful. Like it would take me 30 minutes to get downstairs, kind of thing. So I was expecting that, and, you know, like nurses and stuff had prepared Adam, like, you know, you're going to be doing all the changing and all like the feeding and stuff, like in case I wasn't going to breastfeed. And so once that doctor told me that, and I was like, can I hurt myself by walking, or can I hurt myself by pushing myself like too hard? And he was like, you cannot. The pain that you're in will protect you from like essentially, you know, overexerting yourself or pushing or using a muscle in a way that could potentially harm the sutures or the kind of stitching that you have. So him telling me that was like my green light. I was like, okay, I think that is what kept me from moving around so much in the first surgery, was because I was like afraid of undoing the stitching or the surgery essentially. And so when he said that, he was like, you're healing after baby anyway, like you don't have like the core strength to like really hurt yourself unless you were to like fall or something like that. So yeah, I definitely took that as my go. And from that moment on, I got up at least once an hour. I would go to the bathroom, I would check on Amelia, and that night I got up in the middle of the night to feed her every 2.5 hours, and I was changing her. And the little like cribs at the hospital that are like little glass cribs, so cute, that actually made it really easy because I had something to kind of not really hold on to because it's on wheels, but it kind of stabilized me. So that part was really nice. And yeah, I feel like that alone, by the 4th day when I came home from the hospital, like I could go up and down the stairs. I could hold Amelia going up and down the stairs. And of course it was painful, but from the moment I got home, I wasn't on any narcotics. I only took, like for pain, obviously, I was only taking Tylenol and Advil, and that was it for pain by the time I came home. And sure, like if I got really close to the time of when I had to take my medication again, it was definitely painful, but it was totally bearable in a sense that like if I had known like, oh, that's how it's gonna be, I would have gone into it far more at ease. So I feel like I personally watch so much like videos on C-section recovery, and of course people I feel like always want to tell you their horror stories, and I have to say with like the actual healing and the actual C-section, I actually think I had a really, really positive experience overall. So that there are positive experiences out there. And to any new mamas or expectant mamas that are, you know, feeling afraid, just know that it can be an amazing experience, and it doesn't all have to be super scary. So then another amazing, you know, doctor came in to see me while I was recovering in the hospital, to talk about mental health. And I thought that was really great because they not only prepare you, but they also prepare your partner to kind of know what to look out for. And I do have to say, when I did come home, that first week was really difficult. I felt overwhelmed, I felt alone, I felt like everything I was doing was wrong. And not that I had any indication of that. Amelia was the sweetest, most angel baby. She would just sleep and eat and sleep and eat. She wasn't a very crying or colicky baby, but I had trouble with her latching, and I totally blamed myself for that. And so just little things like that really started getting to me emotionally and mentally. And I just started to really feel like my days are completely different. My life, obviously, I mean, we go into it knowing that that's what's going to happen, but when it happens, it feels like it hits you like a ton of bricks. And I 2 weeks in, I was like, I haven't showered and actually focused on my shower. I haven't done one task where I'm 10 minutes I can fully focus, because if the baby was sleeping, I was trying to get stuff done. I did nap maybe twice in those first 2 weeks that she came home, and that was heavenly. And I definitely recommend it, because you are not going to get those 2 weeks back. And if you can get as much rest as you absolutely can in those first 2 weeks, do it. The dishes, the laundry, everything else that will pile up anyway. And if you are rested, your baby will thank you for it, and that's all that matters. But aside from, chores and that kind of stuff, I just started to feel very, I am not me anymore. And the anxiety started getting worse and worse. And, to the point that I did feel depression, and it was just in a very weird way that I didn't recognize. And then anytime that I would feed, I would focus on this and think about it and dwell on it and think, what if it gets worse? What if I don't have anyone to talk to? And that's the silliest thing, because I feel like I have a great support system in my family. And I know that if I told Adam, I have him as well. But as I was saying, obviously you want to rely on your partner as someone that can help you, especially in this, because you are in this together. But at the same time, you also want the other parent to be really strong, so that when you're I can't, you have another strong person there. So it seems almost silly to be hey, focus on me, I need XYZ. But I keep telling myself, it's kind of when you're on a plane and they say you put on your oxygen mask before you put it on your child. It's that same mentality. You have to be, at an optimal state to be able to take care of someone, well. So I heard that in the first 2 weeks, it's normal to feel baby blues. And that's when 1 second you're oh my gosh, my life is incredible, my baby's amazing, I'm so lucky. And then another minute to think oh my gosh, what did I do? This is so difficult. I can't do this. And it's so weird to have such polar opposite emotions, kind of almost within the same 5 minutes sometimes. So that was difficult to handle and to go through. But as I kept reading, and one thing that I really did, I had a lot of anxiety in the morning when she would wake up for her first early morning feeding, whether it was 6 or 7 a.m. And so when I told Adam, that I felt that way, because he would do a night feeding with a bottle, and then I would get up to pump or breastfeed. And he was like, oh, why don't you listen to a podcast, or why don't you do meditation? And so I started to do that, and I did it like 2 days in a row, and it was like a Deepak Chopra meditation for anxiety. And I kid you not, those like 2 meditation sessions, like it just made me feel so grounded and like I got this. Obviously it didn't just like fix everything. The days were still long, you know, the stuff was still, you know, hard, but I felt like I've got this. And so that was like another kind of struggle for me, was the pumping, because I just had latching issues. I mean, she was actually a great latcher. She latched almost too well, to the point that my nipples blistered and were bleeding before I even left the hospital. So the doctor was like, well, like you need to like take a break or try the shield. Anytime I tried the shield, like the nipple shield, she would just cry and cry, and she was hungry, and it's just like so frustrating as a parent when you feel like I can't feed my child, but I didn't want to just like go into bottle feeding. So like that was like the worst part so far. And as a parent, to feel like I can't either produce enough milk or I can't just feed my baby, it's just like an awful feeling. And I had told myself I'll be totally fine just bottle feeding, but I knew that if I started bottle feeding in the beginning, then it would be a lot more difficult. So anyway, I started pumping. I got a medical grade pump from the hospital, and that was just heavenly. Like I started pumping and I was like, oh my gosh, I can just like do this for like a year. Like this is just so heaven sent. And it was great. I was pumping every, you know, 2.5 hours, 2 hours sometimes. And it was great. I would supplement with 1 bottle feeding a day and 1 at night. And so that part was great, but the upkeep and I mean, especially in the beginning when you really want your baby to put back weight on, when you want your baby to gain weight or to put back on the weight that they lost at birth, it's really difficult. I would pump for about 30 minutes, then I would put it in a bottle and then feed her. That would take about 25 to 30 minutes. And then I would put her down and I would have to like wash and sterilize all the little parts of that, you know, that are used for pumping, and then the bottles. And I literally felt by the time I was done doing that, it was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be up in like an hour. I need to like do all of this again. And so for like, yeah, those first, I would say like 6 weeks, that's literally all I felt like I was doing. And I used to always think like, wait, I thought pumping was like supposed to be more like you have like more freedom because I can like step out for 2 hours and then, you know, the father or someone else can feed the baby. It didn't feel like that at all. But again, it was because we were like literally waking her up every 2.5 hours if she was asleep and just feeding her around the clock. And so by her like 6-week mark, we went, you know, to her pediatrician. She was like back on track. She was actually in the like, I think like 90th percentile. So she's fine. And so then the doctor was like, okay, now you can go more based off like her hunger cues and kind of feed her more intuitively that way. So now it's a lot easier. And also our medical grade pump stopped working and I freaked out because I was like, no, this is like my lifeline. This is how, like, how am I going to do this without this? And I was just like, I'm just going to try. I'm just going to, you know, try breastfeeding once again. And I tried it and it was like the most magical experience. And so for like 3 days until I could replace my pump, that's what we did. And now that, I mean, obviously I have a new pump, but I'm still pumping like once a day, once every other day, just on days that like say we're out and she was, you know, bottle fed and then I come home and I like need to pump, but she's not hungry. So like for that reason I will pump, and it's just, it's so much nicer like to have like that bonding experience. But I honestly like, she's 3 months tomorrow. So this only happened about 2.5 weeks ago. So I was ready to eventually wean off, but only pump exclusively until then, because it was just, I thought it's just not gonna work for me. So again, if anyone new is watching, if you haven't been successful, or if it's, you know, just in my mind, I had just like point blank, like, this is what's happening. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm just not going to be a mom that like breastfeeds. The only time that breastfeeding was almost always successful was in the morning. And that's because I wouldn't pump through the night. So in the morning, I actually had a bigger flow of milk, I guess. And she really liked that. So she would really latch on nicely and wouldn't like fidget and cry, and she just actually focused and ate. So, but now most of the feedings throughout the day are like that. Sometimes if I like cluster feed, then like the second time she's like, wait a minute, this isn't as much milk as the first time. And she'll get kind of discouraged, but overall, like, you also like learn more. I'm also no longer like healing the way I was in the beginning. So to look back and to think like, wow, I was healing, I was learning, and I was taking care of a human, like that was a lot that was going on. But you get through it. And of course, there's still parts of the day that are super hard. There's still days that I feel super overwhelmed. Of course, and I know that's going to continue, but there's also so many more like pockets of like lovely moments, of course. And you just like look at them and you just feel like it's all worth it. All those awful things that I've gone through, like it's all worth it. But not to, you know, diminish all of the hard parts. And, you know, anyone that's like watching, I feel like it's so easy, like on social media or like Instagram, to like post, you know, her in a cute outfit, or like we're out and, you know, she behaved like an angel, because she does that. Like sometimes we'll have like a really difficult day at home, and then on the weekend we'll like go out and we'll be out for like 4 or 5 hours, and she'll feed once and just go back to sleep, and just like this angel child. And everyone's like, oh, she's so easy, like you're so lucky. And it's like, it is magical and amazing, but of course everyone goes through hard days, whether you're a parent or not. But obviously, as we're talking about parenting and the whole postpartum kind of section. So after the 2 weeks of feeling those like baby blues, it was just like literally like I just felt like one day I woke up and it's like, oh, I feel like myself again. And I think also like just hormonally, your body is going through a lot of changes. And because I was breastfeeding, I didn't think I would get my period for, you know, while I was breastfeeding. I actually already have started my period, and I thought, okay, now like I'm back on a schedule, and like I know kind of through my cycle how like when I feel tired, when I feel more upbeat. And it's not the same yet, because obviously it's only been 3 months, so I'm not like on a scheduled cycle yet. So that part's still kind of weird. And that's the other thing too. It's just, you feel like your body is no longer yours. I read this thing this weekend, and it's like so true. Like sometimes you're just so over being touched. Obviously you love, you know, nursing your baby and like touching them and hugging them, but sometimes it's just like anything else touching you, or, you know, you're just like I want to be me. I don't want anything else touching me. And that's like totally normal too, which I didn't know. But I think one of the biggest things is the guilt of feeling not your best, or like days where I feel like overwhelmed or really like stressed out, or like I just want a break. I just want to sit with a cup of coffee and a donut and not worry or care about anything else for like 10 minutes, just like 10 minutes. But then like the second you think that, then the mom guilt kicks in, and I like look at her and I'm like, why would I ever complain? She's like the most amazing thing, and she doesn't deserve this, and she deserves me to be at my best at all times. And I've realized that that is a very toxic thought. So because I'm also human and I also have needs, and it is okay to also take care of myself and to really ask for help. That's been, I think, my biggest challenge, is to really ask for help. And some days I'm like frustrated, but I'm like, oh, I finished all my work, so like I have no choice, you know, or I have no reason to feel overwhelmed. As Adam, you know, walks in from having his run and he jumps in the shower and doesn't, like, he didn't ask me like, hey, you know, like, do you have 20 minutes so I can go shower? Like, he just goes about his day and his schedule. So that's what I keep trying to like remind him. And he's like, well, I'm still working 8 hours a day. And I'm like, just because my schedule is more spread out, meaning I can film at 4 a.m. if I want to, and I can edit till 2 a.m. But just because I have that flexibility doesn't make it, it just means that literally every pocket or second of the day that I have where the baby's sleeping, it means I'm doing something else. so I try to like get out of the house. Well, we go for a walk every day. It gets the dog out of the house, gets the baby out of the house, and it gets me out of the house. So we try to do that every morning. So that's great. And then I try to make myself get out of the house by myself once a week. I don't care if it's like a trip to Target. And it's not like, ooh, like now I can like sneak away and be by myself. Like I'm still doing what I need to do. Like I'm getting Ziploc bags or whatever. But there's like this, like, I feel like I get in the car, I do what I need to do, and I feel like I've accomplished one task without interruptions. And like that does a whole wonder for your mental state sometimes as a mom. And the other day I left to go to Trader Joe's, and as soon as I got in the car, I was like, oh, I didn't have lunch today. And I was like, and I'm going grocery shopping. This is probably not smart because then you want to buy everything in the store. And so I ended up getting a wrap from Trader Joe's. And then like I got in the car and I remembered I needed to pick up something for Amelia at Target. And then I was like, oh, I'm like so hungry. I don't know that I can like stop at Target. And I was like, how about I grab that wrap and eat it in the car? And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like one of those moms like doing something so sneaky. Like I'm just enjoying my lunch. Yeah, it wasn't that glamorous at all, but it felt like I was doing something so sneaky, which was kind of funny. But anyway, she is 3 months old tomorrow, which is crazy. And I look forward to giving you kind of another update soon. But I did want to end this video with, you know, saying if whether or not you're postpartum, whether or not you're a mom, but if you are feeling, you know, down or depressed, and I know personally from close friends and family that taking medication when needed is an absolute must and super, super helpful. So if that is something that you feel like you need, or, you know, don't suppress it, talk to someone about it. And just even in the last 2 years, it's, you know, hit my family really closely, and honestly, getting help and getting medication to treat what it is that you're feeling should never be something that just gets put, you know, on the back burner, or like just, you know, don't ever feel like you're weak by needing this. Someone with diabetes or a heart condition, like, do you consider them weak by, you know, just power through the heart attack? You don't need, you know, medical help. Like, you would never say that. You would never think that about anyone. So I think it is important to, you know, destigmatize the need for medication and for any help. I also see an incredible therapist, and it does help so much with anxiety that can then turn into, you know, other frustrations and other depression. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful, and if anything, you know, just made someone not feel alone. I hope this video wasn't all over the place. I just wanted to genuinely share kind of how, you know, my journey has been going, and I hope that you're all doing well. In my next vlog or like weekday video, I plan to do kind of a lounge wear kind of video, just sharing kind of, I feel like I've become an expert in loungewear. Who hasn't? But I feel like these videos were so popular at the beginning of the pandemic that like now like nobody talks about it, but we're all like still wearing a ton of loungewear. So anyway, it'll be a much lighter, hopefully more fun video. But if you're still here, thank you so much, and I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys. And look who woke up. Who's that pretty girl? Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Hi, pretty. Hi. Who's that? Is that sweet angel? Yeah. Here she is. Good boy. Can you say bye-bye? Say thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Yeah, is that a little sigh?